Welcome back to the Mookie Chilson channel, and you are looking live at another cue card. This is an outline, a rundown of what we're going to talk about in the order in which we're going to discuss it, and the loading dock here at Mookie Chilson World Headquarters hath runneth over. There is just way too much stuff piled up in the intake center that needs to be processed so it can be properly placed on the proper shelf here at the museum, and we're going to start doing that today with pickups aplenty. That I have lots of stuff to go through in that category, I have to be honest with you. We have 53 Statback Fever, that's the Bowman cards. Statback Fever is contagious, it is spreading. I have proof, and I will show it to you today. There is lightning fast autographs. I cannot believe the quick turnaround of PSA, and they knocked my socks off, and so I will tell you about that. I will also tell you about my postulation, my theory, my case study that says that the junk wax era began in the year 1984. And I will show you by way of a great new little pickup that I got from 1984. So let's talk about that. And finally, I have gone all the way down. I am stuck in a mousy hole that I will explain to you when we get there, and hopefully you will enjoy that. And we'll see. But first, let's start with pickups aplenty. And where else could you start other than with our best friend Scott of Reindeer Studios, who drew this on a Marker Doodle Monday on his channel and knocked my socks off when I saw it. I had never seen him draw Tom Seaver in this way before, maybe never before at all. And this is just absolutely gorgeous. Tom Seaver loading the trebuchet back, getting ready to drop and drive in his classic pose with his tongue out. Just brilliant. I loved it when I saw it. I told Scott that in the comment. And then the king of comments, Mr. Mike Petty, the Hall of Fame, the originator of the commenting wing of the Hall of Fame, wrote underneath it, "It's coming your way, pal," or something to that. Now, of course, we all know Mike Petty is more generous than just about anybody else. And so he blew my mind with that. And then when this arrived, I couldn't believe it. So thank you to Mike Petty for being the Medici art family and sponsor of this piece that Scott executed flawlessly and then sent my way. So thank you to you both. Scott, of course, also sent some goodies because he's crazy and awesome. These awesome all-star stickers, super cool, which I will open up, I swear. And then he also sent me these two DVDs, which I'm going to get a DVD player to play because they look awesome. And I really appreciate it. So thank you to Mike Petty, and thank you to Scott for that. Now, I just want to talk about my pal Tony, who runs the card shop in the little shoebox area that my friend Sammy Thunder has been to before. I went there on Saturday and dug around and found this little beauty. Now, you may recognize this image from the 1970 Kellogg's Lenticular 3D set. What you will not recognize is that this is a blank back version of that, and it is not 3D. Why, you say? This apparently was on the box of Kellogg's Corn Flakes that some youngster cut out. And so when I saw this image, I said, oh shoot, this looks familiar. Tony sold it to me for the right price. So I'm super happy to have that. I have never seen one before that in this state. So very cool to have that. I went to Garfield last weekend, met my friend Mike, the vintage composer, who put this in my hand, this really cool New York Mets blister pack team set. It's got Mets Hall of Famer and number retiree David Wright on the front, number 5, and somebody we'd rather forget about, Jason Bay on the back, and lots of great Mets in between. So thank you to Mike, the vintage composer, for that generosity. Also in Garfield, I ran into my buddy Sammy Thunder, who I just mentioned before, who had picked this up for me, expanding the presence of New York Giants on the Pinhole Holy Grail Wall of Fame. This is Sal, the barber Magley, who was known as the barber because he pitched up and in and would give you a shave. And he got a little shave himself up there of his name. This must have been a fan of Sal the Barber, and he was a great pitcher for the Giants back in the day. And so thank you so much to Sammy for that beauty. This, check this thing out, is I think it's 2001. This was a gift from Scott of Mets Collector on YouTube, a fellow who I have met once before in White Plains, and boy, can we talk Mets when we up. He is a fountain of knowledge and information, and he thought I was going to be in Garfield, and he brought this and put this in my hand. And boy, oh boy, I have looked at this card online before and thought about pulling the trigger, but Scott did it for me. This is a 1981 style chrome card with two patches. One from Mookie Wilson, his authentic Blue Jays game-worn jersey, and one from Preston Wilson, who was a Mets farmhand back in the 90s, and that is an authentic game-worn uniform of Preston Wilson. Now, Preston Wilson was a Mets player who the Mets had a great Mets prospect. In fact, he was the centerpiece of the trade that the Mets sent to Florida to retrieve Mike Piazza. And so Mookie and Preston, father and son, both have that great Mets lineage, and Scott put this in my hand. I was blown away by it. I just freaking love it. And there's the authentication hologram there. Super cool Topps Chrome card. And I love it. Thank you to Scott for that. Super cool. I also, at the Garfield show, saw my buddy Clint, the fisherman, who's always got a stack of Bowman 1949s for me. And he had this one, Monty Kennedy, which I got a nice deal on. This is a high number, 237, so this goes in the book. I also saw my friend Ron, the dealer at Garfield, who had a couple of nice new slabbed 49 Bowmans, including the Reading rifle himself, Carl Furillo, in a really gorgeous looking PSA 3 here. Look at that deep red, Carl in his batting stance. That's a rookie card for Carl Furillo. Was a great right fielder for the Brooklyn Dodgers. And so I picked this up from Ron. I'm excited to have that. Thank you to Ron for that. Speaking of friends, my buddy David in the Pacific Northwest sent me a care package with 3 dandies. Number one, well, I'll show you the 1949 Bowman first. He always is populating my set with what I believe are extras from his. Another high number, Elmer Burt Singleton, so super cool, and so this will go into the set. So I'm down, picking up 3 lately here. He also sent me, and he has gotten me taking a hard look at these Banty red cards. Steve Gromek, who we all know is famous for winning that World Series game in 1948, the game that Larry Doby hit his first World Series home run in, winning 2-1 in that ball game. Steve Gromek and Larry Doby embraced in that hug that went round the world. And Banty Red does these reimagining of baseball cards in a way that sort of blows me away. And so David picked that up and sent that to me. Super cool. Just a gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous card. But he also sent me this from the Van City Card Show up in British Columbia. He had run across this. A 1953 Bowman card of Carl Drews. Now, this card has been through it, sort of folded in half and gashed at the top. But this card is pure genius because look at the back. Somehow this baby made it all the way up to Vancouver. And the youngster who owned this card, number one, there's 2 very notable inscriptions on this card. And I'll start with the bottom, which is really awful, obviously. Carl Drews, who was a pitcher for the Phillies back when this card came out, was killed August 15th, 1963. It was a accident, a highway accident. I ended up looking it up. Very sad. But before Carl lost his life in a very sad circumstance, look at the top there. It says, see what it says? Mexico City Red, I think it says R-E-D. Carl had retired from Major League Baseball, and he went to Mexico City to play baseball for a team called the Diablos, if I'm not mistaken. So whoever, the youngster who had this card, did not fill in the stats, which is fine, but followed Carl Drew's career all the way to Mexico City, all the way through his untimely demise, and apparently somehow this card wound up in Vancouver, British Columbia, where David picked it up and found it and sent it to me. And so this will go into the set for sure, as a variation of a stat back that I totally appreciate and love. So thank you for that, David. Speaking of stat backs, did I tell you that I got a new stat back? Speaking of Philly stat backs, how about this guy? You know him. He's New York Mets Hall of Fame outfielder Richie Ashburn. And there he is with his other team, the Phillies, standing in front of the bat rack. Looks like the same bat rack that Stan Musial was sitting in front of, probably in the Polo Grounds there in New York. And, you know, again, condition issues on the front. It's miscut. It's got dinged up corners, but on the back, the youngster who followed Richie Ashburn in 1953 got this card, held onto it all year long, and inscribed all these beautiful statistics into the back. .330 batting average in 1953 for Richie Ashburn. All the fielding stats too. So card number 10, totally brilliant. I'm so excited. I actually saw this card on eBay and it was on the front and it said it had writing, but there's only one picture. And so I asked the seller, would you mind flipping this over to the back? And they did it for me. And when they did, I clicked buy it now, and there you have it. And so I've been noticing fewer and fewer of these cards on eBay. And one of the reasons I think I've been noticing fewer and fewer of these cards on eBay is because another collector has started the set, or at least started collecting them. My man Tony Talks Cards, who is on YouTube at Tony Talks Cards. He's got great, fun, fascinating card show stories and visits. His latest video is 1953 Bowman baseball stat backs eBay find. He got 4 or 5 of those cards, but Statback Fever is contagious, and Tony caught it. And I love that, and I encourage all of you to go check out his channel, Tony Talks Cards. I'm so excited that somebody else has fallen down the same nonsense collecting hole that I have, so go watch Tony Talks Cards. Okay, so that is pickups aplenty, Statback Fever. How about lightning fast autographs? Now, I may have shown you these cards. These were the cards I was going to drop off in White Plains. I ended up taking these to the Philly show, these 3 slabs here, and I dropped them off on a Sunday, and I got them back not the next Friday, but the Friday after. There's my Rachel Robinson on the 89 Bowman reprint, slabbed, authentic, beautiful. This was a 10 calendar day turnaround. What is Sunday to Friday? I think that's 10 calendar days. Maybe I got to do some math right. My Monty Irvin 53 tops. I love that he surrounded his hat like that. He usually, I see a lot of them where he signs up to the side, which I understand because it's tough to do under his chin there, but I like the way he did it there, so I'm happy to have that back. And finally, my Tom Terrific. When I bought this card, the autograph looked a little different than what I've normally seen from Tom, but it just still so beautiful. And I love that it's in black ink as opposed to sort of blue Sharpie, which makes me think it's probably closer to a period autograph than a lot of them, and this was authentic. Again, this was a special at the Philly show. These were $18 a pop, and you know, they don't grade the card or anything, they just call it a trading card, but I was super excited to get those back. And so that is your lightning fast autographs. And so let's turn now to the junk wax era begins. I believe the junk wax era began in 1984. A lot of people say it was, you know, when Fleer and Donruss started coming out. But the reason I think it's 1984 is because this is the kind of card you would pull out of a pack in 1984. This was the condition of the card that you got. Again, it's sort of, you could see it's sort of bumpy surfaced, which means that the paper, underlying cardboard paper stock underneath it was just sort of less than sort of pristine. The back was sort of pulpy, you know, not totally clear, a little bit fuzzy looking, particularly with Tom's, like, you know, small font, because he had been in the league for so many years. But this was the kind of card that you pulled out of a baseball card pack in 1984. Nothing wrong with it. I have no problem with it. But there was a point there where Topps started making these traded sets. And in the traded sets, they would make the cards out of a different kind of paper. The printing was just a lot clearer. The card stock was nicer. You can see the surface got a little bit, this is a, you know, the more pop mark surface on the right. On the left, this is their Dwight Gooden traded card from 1984. Just a better paper stock, paper quality. And on the back, you can further tell that. I mean, again, one of them is bright and shining brightly. The other one has, look at the fish eyes back there. So this is what you got out of a pack. This is what you got out of the set, the traded card set. And it's just a much nicer presentation of the card. But Topps wasn't done making nicer presentations and improving the quality of the card in 1984. This was the first year that Topps introduced the Tiffany set. So this is a 1984 Topps traded Tiffany Dwight Gooden. And I'm going to show you side to side in a little bit, but this is the card I just got. And you can see that it's got a glossier sheen. I'll put these next to each other. This is the Tiffany on the left. Just a little glossier than the one on the right. Maybe you can't quite tell that. It's tough to tell. But the one on the left is just a little bit brighter. And when you look on the back, you can see it pops even more. Deep, deep blue. The orange is deep, deep orange. You can see it really well when you contrast the Mets logos here. The one on the left is the Tiffany, the one on the right is the Topps traded. And here is compared to the what you would pull out of a pack. And I think the reason I contend that this is the start of the junk wax era is because Topps is telling you through their Tiffany Collector's Edition that this was the card you wanted to collect. This was the kid stuff that they'd sell to the kiddies. You know, the traded was, again, another sort of collector, complete collector set. But when you have a collector's edition, and that's what they called the Tiffany Collector's Edition, they're saying to you that the other stuff is something that's not a collector's edition. Now, I collected it. I would still collect it. I am still collecting it. I still have my Tom Seaver. I still have a Mookie Wilson. I have lots of 84 Topps cards. But Topps was trying to tell you that this is a variation that is worth collecting. And so that, therefore, I believe, makes 1984 the year of the official, formal junk wax jump off. And now I have this Dwight Gooden and a Tiffany, which I'm super happy about. Again, this was a card that I loved in 1985 when Dwight Gooden was dominating and I really plugged into baseball. It was so out of reach for me. In fact, the regular version was so out of reach for me. There was no way I could afford the regular Topps traded version. I didn't even know about the Tiffany version until several years later. And because they were not sold in singles, they were sold in collector's edition sets, and nobody really ever opened them. I guess they started sometime thereafter. But anyway, so those are my two Dwight Gooden. The Tiffany is the new one. And so that is when the junk wax era began. And so let's go down the mousy hole now. I began my voyage down the mousy hole in Cleveland when I picked this up. My friend Scott, Reindeer Studios, was right there with me when I picked up this Walt Disney rookie card, 1931 Wills cigarettes. super cool card with Walt and his progeny, Mickey, standing right on the chair next to him. I have next picked up a pinhole card of these 1935, this is an O-Pee-Chee, but the gum ink cards. You can see the pinhole there right on Pluto's butt and next to Mickey's ears. And I've sort of been fascinated looking into Mickey Mouse cards and the way he was distributed and collected all the way back in 1935 and beyond. And one of the things I found, I went to the Allentown Paper Show in Allentown, Pennsylvania, which was super cool. It had a ton of different interesting stuff and ephemera and non-sport stuff. And I picked up this. This is a wrapper for the Mickey Mouse bubblegum cards that came out in 1935. And it was very, very nicely priced. And as you can see, these were the cards that came in that pack. And you can see maybe there how it would sit in that pack. And so these cards with this just super neat, beautiful design, Mickey Mouse bubblegum, gum ink incorporated. There they all are blowing their bubblegum. And the kids went wild for it. And if you're wondering, there's actually quite a few of these wrappers out there. And I think the reason they're out there is because there was a program where you were asked to save the wrapper. Save the wrapper and get a Mickey Mouse album for 5 wrappers and 5 cents. The store where you buy your Mickey Mouse bubblegum will give you a Mickey Mouse picture card album, which you can see Mickey going through there. And so you would buy these packs, save the wrapper, take these cards, take the wrapper, 5 of the wrappers and 5 more cents, and get yourself a Mickey Mouse picture card album, which I got this one on eBay, which I just freaking love. Did I tell you I'm down the mousy hole? Mickey Mouse Picture Card Album Volume 1 for series number 1 through number 48. This one was owned by a little youngster named Kitty, and I'm going to guess that Kitty was a young lady. And so in 1935, she saved up her 5 Mickey Mouse wrappers and her 5 cents. This is in the height of the Great Depression. So 5 cents and 5 wrappers was no sure thing. And she got this album. And I don't know if it's like erased or what here, but I just think the artwork is beautiful. And if you open up the album, you can see that Kitty did some work inside here. She put her name there and she drew in the squares. But you were supposed to take all the cards that you got and paste them inside the album. Paste card number 8 here, for instance, 14. And so at the end, when you bought enough cards and enough gum, you would fill your album. So this album did not have any cards stuck into it. I don't know if Kitty just quit at one point, but I love the album. I love the artwork on the outside. She signed the back page to make sure that nobody wiped it from her. Ooh. But there you have it. So, you know, see like card number 95. I think this is series 2, card number 95. So it wouldn't have been in this album, but you would paste it right in there. So super cool. This will go back on the Pinhole Holy Grail Wall of Fame. This will go in the Museum Mickey wing here. But that wasn't it. The Allentown Paper Show has baseball cards. It's got non-sport stuff. It is predominantly a postcard show. And so I just loved looking at some of the tables and some of the postcards. There's no way I could have looked at all of the tables and all the postcards. But one of them had, again, did I tell you I went down the mouse hole? This thing. A Mickey Mouse postcard that it says, "Accept no substitutes, Mickey Mouse." So there's that little scamp painting out Douglas Fairbanks and Charlie Chaplin. Can you tell what era this is from? And Mickey Mouse today. Mickey was a star. And Mickey knew he was a star and didn't want anybody else sharing the spotlight, which I just love the sort of rascaliness of this this postcard. And at the bottom it says, "Accept no substitutes." And at the bottom below that it says, in German, I'm not going to read it, Nur Teinen Graz, exclamation point. And what does that tell you? What does that tell you, the home viewer? That's a different language, and it looks like it's German, and it is German. If you look on the back, you can see some writing in pencil on the back there, and you can see a copyright, universal copyright, Walter E. Disney, all rights reserved. And what I know about Mickey Mouse in Germany is that while Mickey was a global phenomenon and extremely popular all over the world, there was a point there where Mickey was banned in Germany. And why was Mickey Mouse banned in Germany? Well, because the censors over in Germany thought that Mickey Mouse was picking on them and making fun of them and antagonizing them in a cartoon called Mickey Mouse and the Barnyard Battle. And there you see Mickey on the left, and on the right you see the mean ogre sort of animalish thing, I'm not sure, dog kind of thing, bear kind of thing, wearing a German, what the Germans thought was a German helmet. And of course they're probably not far from wrong on that. And so they were displeased that Mickey was antagonizing them, and they said, you know what, Mickey Mouse is banned here. And so I knew that there was something going on like that there was some kind of censorship of Mickey Mouse in Germany when I saw this card. And when I read the fine print at the bottom, that was in German. And so I thought, boy, that's got to be more rare than any of the others. I've seen Hakes auction off some of these. I think they're British versions. I think I've seen Danish versions. But this is something that I was super thrilled to be able to pick up. And I don't know how much it's actually worth. I don't know if the Barnyard Battle means it's more rare than anything else, or if it's just a cool item that will go up on in the Mickey Mouse wing of the museum here. I'll place that over there. And so that's it. We're down to Mousy Hole. The one last thing I do want to say before we wrap it up here is I got this in the mail the other day. Our friend Eric from Four Leaf Cards mailed this out. Scott from Reindeer Studios cut this out. Eric painted this beauty, and I'm just super psyched and thrilled to be recognized in this way by so many of you, which I totally appreciate and totally cherish, and it makes me feel embarrassed because I know there's so many better channels out there. So I'm humbled by this recognition. But ultimately, again, I think one of the great things about this effort and this endeavor is that so many of you, just like I have found, I think, experience a profound, healthy self-expression through this medium. And it really helps you to think about what you're doing and how you're doing it, and think about what other people are doing and how they're doing it, and connect with them, and connect to collect, as my friend Iconic Al says. And what a, the idea that I would be recognized in this way for doing that is just, sparkly red icing on a beautifully delicious cake that I really appreciate. So thank you for this. Thank you for watching, and have a great day. And we'll see you soon. Thank you.